This is my next monthly update video. Well, the best it's going to be. Okay, what's been going on with my transition and whatnot. And yeah, my braces are still, you can see right here, that gap is still getting closed. Where it's wire tied through this area, they just tightened this side and daisy chained here together to help continue to close the gaps, and tightened everything else. So that's still going good. Getting close to being done with that. So yeah. Still waiting to get into the nutritionist for the issue I was been having with a little bit of excess fat through here. It's not like hugely excess. It's just enough where I'm noticing this fat starting to store through here. Because it's mostly I notice it when I'm sitting, because this part down through here tends to bunch up and roll this way a little bit. And since I made that appointment the last month, it's been more noticeable when I sit, but when I'm standing, it's fine. So yeah, I'm hoping that it doesn't continue gaining in that spot. The thing is, with my weight gain and with my transition and everything, I'm still having breast growth. And with my diet and everything, I don't want to hugely change things. I just want to continue my HRT dose where it's at, then with my diet to help support my body's needs and that growth. Because what I'm wanting overall is this area to become the maximum fullness for the size I am, and not keep gaining through here. And the other issue, it's kind of resolved but not resolved. The bottom side part right through here, it's like this part right here, the bottom side of my, sorry for the camera readjusting the brightness, that lower part of my butt, yeah, it's not filling in on the side, but the upper part has developed really well. It's like the part from the middle all the way around like this. So it's more like a heart shape like that now, the way my butt is. So yeah, with the treatments I had my last treatment towards, it was the 12th for the pain specialist and chiropractic, like the pain specialist place I was going to for the chiropractic part and the physical therapy part, the exercises. That's really strengthened and developed the muscles. I've noticed how with the HRT, how it helps develop muscles differently, like how different hormones does that. It's more of that feminine bodily shape my muscles have developed towards with all those exercises I had to do. Like, and one thing I've noticed, since the very beginning of my transition up to now, especially now, I'm still gaining arm muscle, but I'm not really working out the arm muscles. Yes, some exercises I've done, have kind of helped with that, but not like hugely. But that's how my arm muscles look. And when people say or talk about HRT, like especially from male to female, that estrogen and progesterone and having lower testosterone, you lose muscle mass. I haven't. I've actually been gaining and gaining because my muscles used to be like, when I would go like this, there was like nothing through here and it was like really thin and it was just like kind of like squishly stick up. And now and I don't know why my muscles did that. I've never lost strength. I've always had the same strength. That's as before HRT. So that's something I have noticed. So, yeah. So yes, other parts of my body from the HRT and gaining weight have filled in, like I mentioned through here. Muscles developing towards the feminine range. The other thing is my breasts are still growing, like I mentioned. It's specifically when I last measured, my hips are still 38 and a half inches. Hip butt area. My waist is still 33, even though I have gained this bottom part right here. And my bust. It's like the under bust measurements have slightly changed within like half an inch. Still in the range where I'm still a 32 band size. And my bust, my standing is still 43 inches. It was my leaning went up to 43 and a half, and my laying went up to 44 inches. And putting those in, like my measurements and calculating it on the site of Bra That Fits, it still says I'm a 32K, which is much fuller than what I was, which it's so weird. I've been really noticing with my transition, every time my breasts have gone up a cup size, I'm like, when I got to a certain point, I'm like, they're good right here. And I'm happy where everything's at. And I don't really want them to go up a cup size, but whenever they did keep going up, it's like at that point when I had no more dysphoria from where my breasts were at and where they're at now, it's like even further dysphoria has gone away. So where I'm currently at, if they would ever go down in size, it would cause dysphoria. So with the weight gain and with the diet, I need to change something. That's why I want to get into see the nutritionist sooner than later. Having the weight is, not fun to get the issue resolved because I want to not lose in the bust area, but get here so I don't end up having dysphoria. So, yeah, because where it's at now is pretty much perfect. I'm not having issues with them like I did when I didn't have them and had severe dysphoria. And other things that I can think of, everything else is just going good with my transition right now. So, yeah, down there is since being out so far from surgery now, how many years it's been? Since 2001 and 2002, the revision I had, it's functional. When I say functional, I mean actually functional to the point where not necessarily enough lubrication for like sex with something big, but with something like smaller, yes, and have the actual natural bacteria that's in there. And ever since having bacterial vaginosis and got that all cleared up, that bacteria is naturally in there. It changes based on my hormone cycle and how much or how less. And it's actually become self-cleaning to the point where it's rare occasions when I have to flush and clean out my vaginal canal now. Yeah, I don't have to sit there and actually do it every month, every week. I just have to do it like if there's a buildup of dead skin and it's not flushing itself out. And I have noticed a few times where, like, yeah, more than a few times, I should say, with that bacteria, how natural fluids, either clear fluid or that bacteria comes out and gets on my underwear, or when I dilate, it gets on the dilator, that bacteria. My doctor said when I had the bacterial vaginosis, when it finally got cleared up, and around that time, she was saying, as long as there's no discoloring or a strong smell with it, and that hasn't been happening, so it's all good with it. So it's functional to like that point, like sexually functional, and aesthetically still looks really good, especially gaining weight. And where that fat they took from this area and put down there on my labia majora, yeah, the outer labia, it's filled in, even though it's not like my labias aren't separated, because the way they did the revision, sometimes that happens more often than not when you do the fat transfer and the lifting of the labia minora. You do both at the same time, even though it's not separated because they did it that way, both at the same time. It's still more noticeable that my outer labia is filled in. And even though it's not separated, it's filled in to the point where I don't want to lose that fat either. If I have to change my diet around to help with this fat here, I don't want to lose the fat down here or any gains I've had here, that tissue and fat, more likely the fat. So yeah, that's where I'm at with my transition. That's where everything's at. Everything's still going good. I feel healthier. I feel happier with my body. I just want this to be the maximal fullness, this to be dealt with, and if possible, that lower outer part of my butt to be filled in a little bit more than what it is. Even though I'm happy where everything's filled in. So yeah, other than that, everything's going good. If you have any questions regarding anything with my transition, my experiences, because all I can talk about is my experiences with it, as a trans lesbian with a fluid sexuality. If you have any questions on that too, which I haven't talked much about, that I'm a lesbian in the fluid sexuality part as well, which to quickly talk about that, it's just as a lesbian, I've been always attracted that way, and since preschool hasn't changed. So yeah, it's the fluidity part It's where it gets to me sometimes, because even though I'm a lesbian, the fluidity is like makes my attraction or wants, needs, or desires, wanting something very specific, even though it doesn't seem like it would be technically like something lesbian, even though it still technically is, as the trans lesbian part. So yeah. So other than that, nothing else besides my fluidity changing weirdly the way it does sometimes, or being stuck on one side more than the other. So, especially where it's at right now, it's making my body and how I feel want, the best way I can say it, sexualize a peenie. Pretty much. Yeah. Even though I'm a lesbian, preferably pre-op or non-op trans woman version of it. Not a male version, because I'm not attracted that way. And even if I see a picture, it just right now it makes me want to throw up. But if it's a trans woman, or the best way I can describe it is like a cis woman or female who was born with one, like any variations, like intersex, or just a female that has one, cis or trans. So yeah, is where my fluidity is at, of the sexual part of attraction. Not talking about like the non-sexual parts of it, just the sexual parts of it. That's what, yeah, my body's at, craving, wants, desires, possible needs, and it just fluidly changes. So yeah, and at times it has been in that in between recently, but more so towards what I described. And very, very rarely attracted to non-binary, where it's a femme presenting, either born with the body that way or they're transitioning their body to that. It's rare, but it does happen. So with that fluidity. So other than that, that's what's happening with my transition, what's going on, how I feel, and yeah. And I look better, I feel better, and so until then, if you do, as again I said, if you have any questions, please ask. I'll be happy to answer. So until then, please comment, rate, subscribe, and I want to thank all of my subscribers, because I've recently reached 1.2K subscribers. So I'd like to thank all of you who have stuck around and continuously watching my videos, my updates. So until my next video, boo,